Ubisoft coming out with all these license.
Why don't we take all the Ubisoft IP and remix it?
There was a huge question about how we're gonna make it work all together.
It's so ambitious.
They were even surprised that we told them, no, sure, do it.
Are you sure we can do that?
You might see Rayman in an unexpected way. The show is a dystopian satire. It takes place in 1992, and we follow our hero, Captain Dolph Laserhawk.
He's actually on his last heist before sailing off to the sunset with his boyfriend, Alex.
But actually, the heist turns wrong and is now locked in the super prison called Supermaxx.
It is definitely inspired from Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, and it's really the vibe that Adi Shankar wanted to work with. He liked the vibe of the synthwave, of course, but also the spirit of taking something that already exists and remixing it into something completely different and really crazy and 80s style vibes.
Holding up my Ubisoft mug. We strategically changed it from the visitor cup.
It started in 2016. At this time, I met with Eddie. He's a super geek. He loves everything but anime, Saturday morning cartoon, wrestling, and pop culture. One of the first things he mentioned, apart from using the visual DNA of Blood Dragon and the style and the tone, was also how can we have a sort of a Ubisoft character smash-up.
I didn't want this show to feel like this giant crossover.
The question was, how do we create a show of its own that is not a pure fan service or product placement?
And my hope with this was that we had production company directors and a creative team who could take what was on the page and really elevate it and take it to the next level.
We met with Bobby Pills. They were the perfect studio to work with on this bootleg pirate show.
Hop là. Check. We saw in the project a huge opportunity to just explore what we grew up with back in the 90s.
My first thought was, fucking finally.
Mehdi talked with us at the beginning of the project. He wanted something around like Cowboy Bebop, anything that's kind of anime from 90s to early 2000s.
The thing that we like about old school anime is like the aesthetic, the design are very complicated and intricate, and also the animation is economical but also very rich. With that show, we wanted to expand on what, if the Japanese people kept on doing that kind of aesthetic, where they will be at now, but except now it's done by French people.
We are not trying to do just a copy-paste animation style, but come up with our own.
Bœuf bourguignon with sauce wasabi, I don't know.
We entered animation for adults because most of our brands are mature.
We had like a very eclectic cast of characters. Some are very realistic, some of them are very cartoony.
We were known at the time for the Rabbids Invasion TV series, but obviously when you have Assassin's Creed, Splinter Cell, all the Clancy's, and Far Cry, it's hard to say that we're going to create a kid show.
And when you go to Bobby Pills, you don't go by, oh, by the way, don't be too violent or don't show too many parts, because otherwise you don't go to Bobby Pills.
Are you sure we can do that with Rayman? And I say, yeah.
The brand were pretty comprehensive with the project. If you want to create something that is different, original, you have to take some liberty.
It takes what they've built at heart and twists them in a very different and very fresh way.
It's about putting them in a situation that you would never see in a Ubisoft game. Like Rayman is in a very different context in this show, and it's very funny to turn that around.
What if the rabbits are not actually like these cute creatures?
Or bullfrog, like you would never see an assassin frog in an Assassin's Creed game, for example.
Wasn't necessarily like I must have this one IP as much as it was playing with the idea of contrast, how these different IPs fit into the world. You know, Rayman doesn't look like everyone else in this world. Rayman isn't even from this universe. He's from Dimension X. He's a refugee. You're able to build these backstories that influence the life trajectory of all these characters within this world. And so it was more about building this cohesive, coherent universe and then dropping these characters into the universe and seeing how that affects their point of view, the nuances and eccentricities that make them who they are.
So not the Ubisoft character you know, but the Ubisoft character that would exist in a sort of a parallel universe.
Even if it feels like another sci-fi anime, we managed to have characters that are deep on some aspect, and also you connect with them emotionally.
Obviously, it's an action-packed show, but it's also dealing with toxic relationships, propaganda, and the use of social medias in our times. Sure, it's 1992 in a world that doesn't exist, but it highly reflects the situation in our world today.
It's a hard show to make, but everybody sees that as a challenge and a fun one.
The entire team at Bobby Pills, they've taken the initial vision, the scripts, and really just elevated it to a whole new level.
What I'm the most proud of this project is the ambition and the quality of the animation. I'm really excited for the result.
That's really an homage to video game, anime, actioners from the 80s and 90s.
It's a fan work, and it's fans that want to add to the creation of amazing universes that have been created by Ubisoft.